Welcome to the Nola Row Experience Podcast. Raw, honest, relatable experiences that help us grow. Are you subscribed? If not, what are you waiting for? Go! And please, leave a review and help us grow while you're at it. Thank you.
On today's episode, I am here with the beautiful Tracey Khan, who is a writer for Caribbean Life, and I'm a little bit excited and slightly nervous about this conversation, just a little bit, because it's a little bit touchy for both of us, and I don't think that the people who see your face would expect this topic. Y'all ready? All right, y'all ready? Okay, but before we get into it, hey girl, how are you?
I'm good.
Let me introduce you to Shantor's Mood, our sponsor for today. Looking at this, you can't really tell what it is.
No.
You can't really tell what it is. And for the listeners, it's a beautifully wrapped container with a bow. And it has an awesome candle inside of it. So look at that.
Oh, what?
Smell
Detail? I was not expecting that.
Listen.
And that smells amazing.
Shout out to Ingrid Murray. Thank you for this beautiful candle. I'm gonna light it. One of the scents that I fell in love with. She has 5 amazing scents. And because it's such a small space, I'm just gonna burn one for now. I really want to preserve this candle. But what I've also heard about this candle is that it burns for a long time. And I'm curious to see what this scent turns into as we go into this conversation. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right, so today, guys, we are talking about infidelity, aka the good old cheating. I feel like we have all encountered this in some way or some form. And it's possible that it's because it's so embedded in culture. What's your opinion on that? Why is this thing something that I think we can all relate to on some level, whether we've been cheated on or we cheated?
Well, like you said, it is embedded in culture. I feel like it's so embedded in culture that we've accepted it, and to an extent we expect it.
Ooh.
And that's it's extremely sad because, once you're being told constantly that all men cheat, and I cannot speak from the other perspective of cheating, but being cheated on. I can only speak from that perspective. And you constantly hear things like, oh, all men cheat, it's just a normal thing, and you don't leave. Oh, it's just cheating. And they make reference to people that we don't even know, we've never met. Beyonce, Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce, she stayed. Who are you? And so I feel like when you are being fed that constantly, you start to believe it and you accept it. And then there are women who are berated for leaving as soon as a man cheats, especially if it's a wife, you're married or you have kids, you are expected even more to stay because of those attachments. And when the women, they walk away, they're like, oh, you're going to go get another man, he's going to cheat on you too. So why not stay with the one that you're familiar with? So like you said, it's culturally embedded. And not just in one culture or a Black or Indian culture. This is a national pandemic.
Guys, we're global at this point.
Yes.
So I like that you mentioned Beyonce, because I've even seen on social media people say, well, if Beyonce is that beautiful and still gets cheated on, then it's not about the looks. And when I hear people say things like that, I wonder, have we not learned anything all these years? if you look at the person who's, like the side person, the side woman,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, it's not always necessarily a more beautiful person. So what's your take on, the other person not being as beautiful? Why would you even leave the person that you're with, or potentially ruin a relationship to go off with somebody who's not as beautiful?
Well, I think men venture off, and anything that's old, I'll say this: if you're in a relationship, you've been in a relationship for a year, 2 years, that becomes old. And so
Mm,
I feel like men like to explore, and this is not anything to that I'm making excuses for them,
mm-hmm,
but obviously this is personal opinion. This is based on experience, direct and indirect. Men like new things. Men are intrigued, and also they like to feel this new exciting feeling.
mm,
We've been together for 2 years. I am familiar with this. This is known to me. I know how you make me feel. I'm okay with this. I go and I talk to someone else, and sparks and excitement
mm,
erupts. And so
mm,
you want to pursue that, and you want to feel that. And then necessarily, like we're talking about, Beyonce and Jay-Z. We would say Beyonce has everything. And Jay-Z still ventured out of his marriage, had kids and all of that, and it still ventured out. So like you said, it's not necessarily always beauty. I feel like it's just this feeling, and men like to chase, and they want to conquer. And so they've already conquered who they're with. So let me try to conquer something else, and something else, and something else.
yeah, I
Or
think that's
in
a
their
general
case,
mindset. I wouldn't say all men, but definitely a
yes,
general
the
mindset. And
majority.
like you said early on, it's become like a norm. So women subscribe to that mindset as well.
Yes.
So I did some research, and I really loved the what marriage.com had to say about some of the reasons
Hmm.
why people cheat,
I'm
right?
intrigued to hear.
But before we get into the reasons, I want to know what your definition of cheating is. What's your definition of infidelity?
So I feel like it's not just physical. Infidelity is emotional. Once you connect with someone
Mm.
emotionally, you're flirting with them. I believe that is emotionally cheating on your partner. So I think a lot of men say, "Oh, well, I didn't cheat because I did not have
We
sex. I
were
never
just
talked." Yeah,
talking.
we were just talking, sir, ma'am. What we I was talking about?
Bumsy.
So I feel like you cheat emotionally, and
Hmm.
especially for women. If a
Hmm.
woman is to cheat, the first way she's gonna cheat is to have an emotional connection. And in cases, it's not even always physical, but just to have someone to listen
That
to. And so that,
attention.
yes. And so, like you said, intention, sir, again, you know
Hmm.
what you want to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I believe that's what it is.
So my definition is just breaking an agreement, because
Mm,
there might be a couple out there who doesn't feel like the talking is cheating. They might
yes.
feel like, oh, it's, if nothing happened physically, then
It's not
it's not
cheating.
cheating. And if in that relationship they don't consider the talking and the emotional stuff
Mm-hmm.
cheating, then I'm like, well, every relationship has their definition of
Of
cheating,
cheating.
and they have an agreement with each other. I think people kind of agree, we're not going to cheat on each other. And then when you do, that's definitely a
Yeah.
violation. So I'm going to go into what marriage.com had to say about some of the reasons people cheat. One of the first things which I can relate to, and I'm going to briefly go into a story about mine, but lack of emotional fulfillment. For instance, if one partner is constantly busy with work and doesn't engage in meaningful conversations, the other might feel lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So I read my cheating story is it's easy for me to say, oh, I was cheated on. That's easy. That happened enough time, right? But I am going to talk about when I did it. At
Ah.
age 19, Tracy's like, oh, and y'all are also saying, oh, well, let me shut it down right now. This was age 19, and haven't done it since, y'all. All right, okay.
Disclaimer.
Okay.
Okay. You heard her.
So I was on the train talking with a coworker about it.
You cheated on the train?
Damn. It might have happened on the train, but I was on the train with a coworker talking about my experience with, you know, being in a relationship and having this other guy. And she was like, you know, it sounds to me like you're just using this new guy as emotional support. I was like, mind blown. What? First of all, I've never heard that term. And I was like, oh my gosh, it never left my mind.
Most women do that.
And as you can see, I still remember it because that was such an impactful statement that she made. And in that moment, I was like, she is so right.
Yeah.
This is literally...
You just need emotional support.
That's all that was happening in that moment. So that's the extent of my story, guys. Y'all thought y'all was
you thought it was going to get more juicy?
Sorry. That's it. Sorry, guys. But let me tell you the other reason. Communication issues. For instance, if one partner desires more quality time together but fails to communicate this, the other might not realize the significance. This emotional gap could lead the neglected partner to seek companionship elsewhere where they feel their emotions are valued. It's the same thing, basically, but it's really not having the, I guess, communication.
That open, honest communication. And I feel like it has a lot to do with feeling heard.
Because sometimes you do communicate.
And you're not heard. And like you could be talking, but the other person isn't listening. And so that indeed is a major factor for cheating. It's obviously not okay.
Right.
Because you are emotionally damaging and hurting another person.
Right.
And that's not to say anyone is perfect or whatnot, but I feel too like men take advantage of, women expect that they're going to cheat. They know they're going to be forgiven. And I think they take advantage of it. And they also put themselves in positions to cheat. Now, you know, you're attracted to a woman and you're going to still put yourself in a certain position, places, entertain certain conversation, not be mature, and say, you know what, I'm not going to indulge. I'm not going to engage further. I should cut communication with this person because it leads to
potentially,
yeah.
So you just touched on a really strong point that marriage.com mentioned. And one of the other reasons is tempting opportunity, right? For instance, a person regularly interacting with a coworker on business trips might find themselves forming an emotional bond due to shared experiences and increased time spent together, eventually leading to infidelity if proper boundaries aren't maintained.
Yes.
So it's essentially the same thing. I mean, the workplace is like a movable part. You can move that and put something else in, like the gym or the park, or, you know, we're going to the park for a play day, but you know that Jimmy's mom is going to be there and she's single or married. And you know that there's some type of vibe or whatever there, and you keep
some sort of connection.
You keep going to the park.
Yes.
To see Jimmy's
intention. And then just putting yourself, as they said, a tempting situation.
Okay, so what, you know, I'm going to mention one more and then I'm going to ask you a question. So alcohol or drug addiction, this is one that I didn't think about, and I thought this was interesting. Someone battling alcoholism might make impulsive choices under the influence, leading to infidelity they later regret. Addiction and impulsivity can impair judgment and self-control, increasing the likelihood of engaging in behaviors that they might not engage in under rational circumstances. So that's one that I did not think about, but you go out and you drink. How many times have you heard people say, I was drunk?
Yeah.
That's such a good alibi.
Oh.
It's such a common alibi. So what's the biggest lesson you've learned being on the other side of cheating or being cheated on, and how has that helped you grow?
It has, the biggest lesson for me is, you know, not to invest your or center your entire life around another person. So that was the biggest thing for me because, after being cheated on, I was married. So that was, um, I centered my entire life around that person. And so when that happened, I kind of also, and that was me, I was not as close to my friends because everything was about the person.
Right, you drifted.
I drifted away from my friends. And so when that happened, I was so devastated because this person was my entire world.
Right.
And so everything shattered. And so I've just learned to ensure that all of my relationships are in check. Friendship, family, my relationship with God, that I am emotionally okay. And so, because, you don't know what's going to happen in life. And this is not just about cheating, but any other thing that can happen. And so you have all of these different support systems. So that was the biggest thing for me, not to center my life around one person. And I think a lot of women, they do that. You center your entire world. Everything is about who you're dating or who you're with or who you're married, and you forget about God and family and friends. So that was the biggest lesson for me, honestly. And what was your other question?
That was pretty much it. But, how did it help you grow? So that's all intertwined.
Yeah.
And that's a really solid one. That's really, and we can use that as advice for people. That's really the purpose of speaking about experiences that help us grow, because if it's helped you grow,
Yeah.
somebody else can hear and say, well, damn, I be doing that. Let me call my friends up, because even in that moment when you're devastated, you
Who
probably,
call?
you can't call. Probably
Exactly.
can't, I don't know. But when you isolate yourself like that, it's definitely another level of devastation.
And wives, I feel too, like, as a wife, I was like, I am married, things are different. And indeed, things become different when you're married. And, I want to be the best wife, the perfect wife, all of that. And so that was like my definition of being perfect, just giving myself completely to the person and to the relationship and isolating. And, that's unhealthy. Obviously, even if it was just a friend that you're centering your entire life around, or just your family, if things fall apart and you have issues, you're gonna fall apart as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really good. Thank you for that. All right. So one of the other reasons, according to marriage.com, is uh, why people cheat: the feeling of being unwanted. This often results when one partner is living a very successful and busy life and does not have time for their spouse. When the other spouse starts feeling like their opinion and feelings don't matter, they counteract the strong, undesired influence of cheating. In their heads, this act will bring back their dignity and self esteem. They want to show that they're still worth it in somebody else's eyes. I mean, people are out here cheating, men and women. And I think what often happens is we feel like it's like one of three things. Oh, that person is just promiscuous, or
Yes.
true. Men always cheat. But guys, yes, men cheat. We know that. But we also have to remember that men are human, and they have emotional stuff going on too. They have needs. They have poor communication skills or lack of tools that cause them to sometimes feel inadequate. And this could be, maybe the woman is making more money. What about situations like that?
Why would I feel like men who are obviously insecure, they will feel some type of way about that, because a real man is going to uplift his woman and push her to reach for the skies, instead of being intimidated and feeling insecure about that.
That would be
And so
ideal.
and then the thing, everything is not about money either in a relationship. You could be the one who is the emotional support, the mental support. You're strong in those areas. You take care of the home. You're a good man that could take care of your home physically and all of that. And so what? The woman that you're with, she makes more money, but she depends on you, and it's how you see yourself. That's how the woman will see you as well. So if you see yourself as inferior because you don't make enough financially, that's not on me. Get your money up or just build yourself up emotionally and mentally. And I strongly believe that everything starts mentally. Once you start to tell yourself that, I am enough, what I'm doing is meaningful, and that person, that woman will show you that respect and that
Money or
love.
not.
Money or not,
You're
yeah.
dropping gems. Guys, we need sound effects. Oh my goodness. All right, so we have a couple more reasons, but in the name of time, I am going to jump into one more. Oh, you know what? I'm going to jump into this one because it's not talked about a lot, and I feel like it might be common, but we don't really hear about it. It's common, but we don't talk about it. Make sense?
Mhm.
All right. So when a partner wants to sabotage a relationship,
Like, just leave. I'm sorry. Go.
this could be a sheer case of vengeance when a partner, for some reason, wishes to inflict pain on the other before leaving. At the same time, it's also possible that the person resorting to cheating in a relationship wants to end it, but wants the other person to initiate. In such cases, the cheating partner wants to get caught and expects the other partner to break up with them.
Delusional. Anyway.
That's
The
it.
Lulu.
Lulu. You know what? It does happen.
I'm fed up. Like,
we don't talk about this, but it does happen where you might think, like, I think it's one of those situations where there's somebody out there that can relate to this. Why are you doing this? They're looking at their partner like everything is great. You're telling me you're happy. Why are you doing this? It could be sabotage.
it could be sabotage, and there's just lack of emotional maturity, because if you something is not satisfying or fulfilling you anymore, you're going to do the right thing and you're going to be honest to say this is not working. And if if the other party wants to say, okay, suggest counseling, let's at least try to see if we're going to make it work, before you leave, especially like, in a marriage. But I feel like it's not, even if you're not fulfilled, you're being cheated on, and you feel like, all right, I'm just not going to waste my young age or just my time and my energy, and it doesn't satisfy you, you have to do what's best for you. But sabotage, yeah,
That's wild.
it's wild.
Sabotage is crazy.
I get it's a real thing.
And I could also see the mindset of that person who's like, damn, but this person is great, but I just, don't
I don't
want to
feel
be here.
fulfilled anymore.
Yeah.
It's not working for me, as I said, and leave.
So here's the thing. I wanted to end this segment off with some solutions, but what you keep doing is mentioning solutions all along. So one of the things that you mentioned was counseling. That's one of the things that I'm a very big advocate about.
Yeah.
If you don't have the tools, if you don't know how to do it, it's okay to go to somebody else
Yes.
and have them help you figure that out. So I think that's the number one thing you mentioned. Just go. You know what I mean? It's not always that easy, but I like the counseling part. I'm gonna stick with that as the final solution. Go talk to somebody.
Talk to somebody.
Figure out what you need in order to be fruitful in your relationship or to leave.
Yes.
It's a lot of different things you can do, but I think that one right there,
super important.
Yeah.
I just believe too, sitting with yourself. Like, I'm a person, if I feel unhappy about things, I literally would sit with myself. And they say you could talk to yourself, just don't respond. That's the Caribbean thing. So I respond. I talk to myself. I don't respond, but I just kind of sit and meditate, and to kind of find a direction in where I want to go. So I think that too, like, you've got to sit with yourself. You've got to be honest first with self, because you could go to counseling and that's important. But like, what is it that you need or want from the situation, and then move forward. Once you understand, okay, or I don't know what I want, get counseling as well. But sit with yourself too, I think.
And you know what? I'm going to say this. Sometimes people don't know what they want. Period. That's that. All right. So this segment is the SOA Q&A, where our producer, Shot of Adrenaline, will ask us introspective questions that we have to answer.
Mm-hmm.
The only rule is you repeat the question,
Okay.
then answer.
Okay.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we ready?
I think so. If I were in the multiverse, what advice would I give my 20-year-old self? And the topic it's regarding infidelity. I would say to 20-year-old Tracey, keep building yourself up in God as you were doing. Build yourself up spiritually. Do not allow the mistakes of your father to live with you, because that's something I've struggled with. The mistakes that my dad made. Other people try to paint it on myself and my siblings that your dad is not of this caliber. And so I know I walked with that heavy for most of my life. And thank God I eventually broke loose from it to say I am my own person and I will not answer for the sins of my father. So I would tell myself, continue to build yourself up in church. And dust the sins off or the mistakes off of that your dad he did, and also to be confident in the person that you are and not allow a man to bring you down. So that's what I would say.
Wow. Okay. That was a lot. Wow. Okay, I didn't know you get down like this, girl. All right.
Me neither.
Okay, if I could change something in my grandparents' life that would impact my life today. Okay, thank you for making me emotional.
Me too.
I want to cry.
I thought I was getting good with the questions. I'm sorry.
I have to say, wealth would have played a really integral role in how my grandparents ultimately ended up in life. I do feel like poverty played a huge role in them not even being alive anymore. You know, health, resources, definitely. Rest in peace to Irma and Guilford Rodney. I always honor them every birthday. I do stuff for them, and it's because I always remember that hearing that my grandmother was standing in line to vote in the hot sun in Guyana and got a heat stroke, and then the next day or days later she passed away. That was hard to learn, you know, but I still remember seeing her walk down those stairs and I never saw her again. And I remember sitting on a couch watching TV with my grandfather, and he literally just leaned like this and he died right there. I didn't even know that he was gone, but just thinking about their lives and how hard they had to work and how they struggled. People like to say money doesn't make you happy. Well, neither does poverty. All right, so we are going to jump into our third and last segment, which is called Happy Habits, but I need a moment to breathe. I just want to...
Yeah, I understand. I do.
Life happens and we learn. And if there's anything that's painful, you can be an alchemist. You can use that pain and morph it into something that helps you be better. So 100%. One thing I'm telling you, I'm not being broke.
Say it again.
We're not doing
no,
poor.
Sir.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
Love my grandparents. So the happy habit is really about people feeling like something really extravagant has to happen for you to feel good, for you to feel like you're happy.
No.
And we often end up missing those little opportunities or those little things that happen with us daily that we could, tap into and feel joyful daily, all day. So what is one habit or something that you practice periodically or frequently that brings you joy?
I'm always thanking God. So for me, the most important things in life, is life and then health, because you could be rich, be wealthy, and I was listening to a message this morning with Miles Monroe, and he was talking about wealth, but he said, a lot of people attribute wealth to just having money, and he said emotionally you should be wealthy. Mentally, you should be wealthy, physically. And so have wealth in a very holistic way. So the biggest wealth for me is health. So I'm constantly thanking God that I have good health, that my family has good health. Because I had like a sort of a devastating news about my brother. We thought something was horribly wrong with him. And it just shifted, because I'm like, once no one is sick, we could deal with everything else.
Mm-hmm.
When we have problems in our families, I'm like, all right, nobody's sick, nobody's dying. All right, this is good. We'll
Yeah.
be fine. So I'm always like thankful for health and for life. So those are things that I practice. And I'm like, my family, they could tell you, I am big on just little moments. Everything is a moment for me.
Mm.
And my sisters will be like, you're always doing a production for everything. Like, it's not that serious. But I'm just so thankful that, everyone that I love, they're alive and they have health and strength, because I have experienced that when I lost one of my grandmother and my grandfather, and I lost one of my nephew. So, I understand what it is, that feeling in your gut that like never goes away, that heaviness. And so I'm constantly just thankful for life and for health, for my family. So I practice
Gratitude.
that like daily.
Gratitude. Yeah. And you know what? People, the cheat code to joy and happiness is gratitude.
Yes,
So thank you for that.
it is.
And you know what? I am really in love with this candle. Big
Me
shout out to
too.
Chantor's Mood. Ingrid Murray, you have outdone yourself. This is gorgeous. This is beautiful. Like, even when I got the candle, I didn't want to tie this because I'm like, I don't want this bow to look ugly. I don't want to do a disservice to it. But this is amazing, beautiful. Thank you guys for sponsoring us today. And
It smells amazing.
I love it.
Everything
Thank
about
you.
this candle, this package and everything.
It's gorgeous. It smells good.
Listen, if you're watching this, you want to get me a gift, get me one of these candles.
So before we head out, where can everybody find you and what can they expect when they do?
So I am on all social media platforms. You can follow me on Instagram. You can look for Tracey Khan or Trey A. Khan. And so honestly, I do so many things, but my social media doesn't fully reflect that. But I'm going to become more engaging. Currently, I'm also the social media strategist for an entertainment blog called Music Exclusives. So I'm doing a lot of work with them. And I also have my own marketing business. I'm a digital marketer, One Media Management. So I do all digital marketing for events, businesses, event coordinating. So, I do a lot of different things. But you can find me on Instagram and also on Facebook at, Tracey Khan. Tracey with the E. They always leave the E out for some reason.
I know. I battled with it. When I was emailing you, I battled with it.
You got it right, though.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Nola Rowe Experience Podcast. Created and hosted by Nola Rowe. Produced by Take Action Media. Theme song by Mr. Melee. Sponsored by The Hills Restaurant, Brooklyn, New York. Listen to us on all podcast platforms and follow us on social media at the Nola Rowe Experience Podcast. Visit the NolaRoweExperiencePodcast.com and connect with us via email at talkwithnola@gmail.com.